What is going on? Welcome to Ruu's Room, where we get into the nitty-gritty of the artists and creatives in the Aussie scene. I am Ruu, aka the Culture Black Kid, and today we have Kian. He is an ARIA nominated singer, songwriter, and his debut album, Wake Up, You're Falling, is out right now. Kian, how are you doing? Like for real, for real. How are you doing?
Oh, good man. I think lots of good things happening right now. I feel like super excited to have my album out because it's like, obviously it's just so much time and like energy put into it, and then you kind of going over it in your own head. So like once it's out there, it's like it's off your shoulders.
For
You
sure.
don't have to like keep wasting away like looking over it. So yeah, I'm glad it's finally out. I've like had a lot of like positive feedback and stuff. So it's good, man. Like yeah, just happy, man. It's good.
That's good. That's good. Yeah, no. Congrats on the album. It's such a fun listen. I listened to it on the way to oh, what was it? Palm Beach. Like, and I was riding just
It's
up and down. It was such a great like drive to listen to it.
yeah.
In on
Glad,
that
man.
same breath, what do you think is the best place and time to listen to your album from top to bottom for the first time?
I feel like the best place is like weirdly. I kind of always goes back to when I was making the album.
Mm.
Often, like after the studio, I'd get like a balance of what we made on the day or whatever. And I'd I was like staying in Melbourne, like in the city. So I had like an Airbnb, just like a random apartment, and then what I would do is I'd just like go out and like just go for a walk amongst like the city and like all the busyness and all the people and like everything. And then I'd have like noise canceling headphones on and playing the song. And it's like this weird feeling of like you feel like there's just like so many lives happening around you at once. But and because my songs are so like like it's very like an inward thing for me. So it's like it kind of is this weird detachment from the world, which I think was super cool. So I kind of did let someone go for a walk and like just being immersed in like the world and like listening to the songs. I feel like it can create this really cool thing. So yeah, that's kind of where I felt like it was hitting for me. It kind of felt like one of those YouTube videos where like you're walking through the city and it's like they got like a GoPro on their head and it's like maybe like Tokyo or something and it's like
PRV, yeah, yeah,
yeah.
yeah, yeah. I know what you get, but okay, cool. Nice, like lock in, like even though everything, there's a whole bunch of crap going on around. It's like very just in
Yeah, yeah.
yeah,
I want it should feel like it's like your inner monologue, just kind of like ticking away while the world's happening. That's
for sure,
kind of
for sure. Okay, well, maybe that's a little reference for anyone who still hasn't checked out the project. Which if you haven't, then I don't know why you're lacking, but but that is not why we are here. We're not here to talk about the project. We're here to get to know you a little bit more. Get to know the ins and outs of who you are as a person. And my first question to you is, what percentage of yourself do you think your inner circle really knows about you?
man. I feel like my inner circle is so small. Like I feel like yeah, I've got like people that either like I've met within the last like couple of years that I've just grown really close to, which is a very small group, and then I've got like day one kind of people like I got like my best friend since I was like three.
Mm,
Like that guy who's just like we're just still tight now. So
yeah.
I feel like it's so small, but yeah, like I'm very like with the people I trust and I love, like I'm very open and like I like to have that kind of relationship of like I'm there for you, you're there for me kind of thing. So I like knowing what's going on in like people's lives and people I love and like so I can be there to support them through whatever they're going through or whatever. So yeah, I'd say like my inner circle, I think people definitely know me well. I think too like when you get to know me, like my sense of humor kind of comes out a bit. I'm a very sarcastic person. I like to just joke around. But at the same time, I also like having like deep random conversations about random stuff, even just like I don't know. I feel like I could just talk for days about some stuff that I'm into, like whether it's like nerdy shit or like music stuff or whatever. It's just it's cool. Yeah.
Oh, for sure, for sure. If you had to put a number to that, what do you think it would be?
How many people?
No, percentage.
Oh, percentage. Okay. Of my inner circle,
Mhm.
I feel like it's a good percentage. I'm gonna say like 70%. I'll say
Okay,
like 70%. It's good. Yeah. So like, with family and friends, like I'm pretty open. Yeah.
okay,
So yeah.
okay. And then how much of that 70% do you think you've shared in your music so far?
I talk about in my music like so much stuff that I go through. Like sometimes stuff that I know don't even really talk about in any other way because I feel like that's kind of like what music is for me. Like really songwriting.
Mm.
It's like really cathartic and really like somewhere where I can say something I've always wanted to say, but say it in a way that no one would ever know what I'm trying to say. If that makes any sense. So
Yeah, yeah,
I don't know. It's like it doesn't fully. It's not like exactly the same as like going to like a therapist, but it's all
mm,
it's like on a similar vibe where it's like I feel like I can get a bunch of stuff like off my shoulders, and I think sometimes music's cool because that's what like I do it for, but then someone else listens to it, something totally different from it. Like song saved my life, or like this is this like there's people that like someone messaged me like I'll have to find the screenshot, but someone like messaged me like a few weeks ago and was like, we love your song so much, me and my partner, that like we named our kid after you. And I was like, that's the most crazy thing. Like, I was like, you have a kid named after me because like you like my song. It's just like
yeah,
such a, I don't know, like that stuff's crazy. Like I don't ever think about like to me, I'm such a small part of this world. So it's like
yeah,
the fact that I can have that kind of impact on someone is crazy. Which is something I feel like I always forget as an artist. Like there's so much more than like just what the music does for you, and it's always like selfish to like not think about how the music affects everyone else.
yeah.
So yeah, it's crazy, man. Super crazy.
No, for sure, for sure. Elijah Yo actually had a similar story when I interviewed him. He said he went to
Yeah,
a show where a guy came up to him and was like, "Yo, I saw you a few years ago, and then here's the kid that I just had who was named
that's
after you." And it's like, yeah.
that's crazy.
So, but okay, well, hopefully through this main part we can get to know a little bit more of that percentage. So I've asked Kian to do a little bit of homework. Going to take it back to primary school days, do a little bit of a show and tell,
Yeah.
get some items. But if we don't have an item, then that's cool. Hopefully we at least get a dope story to go along with it. So let's get into that. Number one, my first question, what is something that represents who you are as a person?
I thought about this because it feels like such a massive question. It's like, how do
Let's
I
go.
wrap myself up in something? And then I could have gone like heaps deep with it, and then I also could just like not go heaps deep with it. But I decided like at the end of the day, like a big part of like me is like I'm low key like a nerd. So I play video games all the time. I'm like heaps into everything. And there was like Loki, some crossover between like you sent me all this homework, which was sick. It was the first time anyone's ever done that for interview. And there was some crossover between some of the questions. So I've like had to like really think about what item goes where. So it's my PSP
Uh,
from when so basically yeah. So basically I think these came out in like 2005 or six or something like
yeah,
that, like around
yeah,
that time. So I was born 2002, so I'm like this was like I was a baby.
yeah.
So like essentially that was kind of like what sparked that side of my life, I guess. I think like the gaming stuff I had was like my sisters are like they're like 10 years plus older than me, my
Mhm.
older sisters.
Yeah.
So like they kind of had some leftover stuff. There was like a Game Boy and like some
Mhm.
and like Super Nintendo and stuff.
Yeah. Yeah.
But I feel like my first ever stuff was like the PSP and like I had like a DS when I was a kid. That was uh, like because my sisters and stuff, my family was like older. I
Yeah.
was like I kind of like was at home as a kid. Like like my sisters had like finished high school and like going like living their lives. So
Yeah.
I was just like almost like, damn, what am I gonna do to entertain myself? So like my life was just like I got so good at Tekken on this thing. It was like
Nice.
my whole I was like going crazy. But I remember at the start, like I I used to like get to the final boss and
Mhm.
I like in the arcade mode and I like when I was a kid I couldn't beat it. So I used to have to like get my sister to like come and beat it for me. Anyway.
Oh, that's
But
fire.
yeah, I think that like because this was like my parents crazy. I forgot I've kind of forgot I kept it, and then when I had moved back to Melbourne, I was just about to move. My dad like brought a box of like all my stuff that I had like kept at his house before I moved to Sydney, and yeah, that was in it. And I was like, bro, I can't believe I still kept it, and it still works. I played them the other day.
True.
It was
True,
nice.
true, 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 true. Yeah, that's fire. That's fire. Yeah, I was definitely maybe not PSP, but definitely remember playing Nintendo DS.
Yeah, yeah,
Goodness, I was rinsing. What was it? A lot of like FIFAs.
yeah,
I
yeah,
played a
yeah.
lot of FIFA on
Yeah,
those.
I didn't get into like FIFA and stuff until I got a little bit older, and I had like a PlayStation and like an actual console that I could play on, and
Mhm.
like go to like people's houses. Like my cousin used to like beat me like 12-0 at FIFA, and I'd be like going so hard, trying so hard, just couldn't score on him, like that kind of vibe. And then yeah, like the DS was another one. Like I had like a giant like Pokemon plush in my like studio there, so I was gonna bring that, but then I was like, I feel like the PSP is it's more sentimental.
For sure.
But yeah, because I used to just rinse Pokemon. I still like love Pokemon, but as a kid, that was like yeah, that was my stuff, that was my shit.
No, 100%, 100%. Do you feel because obviously the PSP, Nintendo, very again, kind of going with what you also said about your project, very internal games. It's not like it's an external Xbox or a PlayStation 2,
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
where it's very collaborative. Do you
yeah.
feel like do you feel like there's a reason why you're more drawn towards solo games or solo consoles rather than ones where there's multiplayer?
I think as a kid it was cool. I've always like had like I guess as a kid, like my imagination was like super, like I just had a big imagination. So it was like, I like the idea of like diving into a world and like trying to imagine myself in this world. And it's like that kind of thing. So I think that's why, like, um, yeah, I used to just, I guess that was like the main reason for sure. I think like now it's a lot different. I like when I play games, I like playing like with my friends and it's like a fun thing, I guess, because like, you don't get like, there's not as much time. There's not as much time to like, and I'd rather spend that time with other people involved as well and like
Mhm.
having fun. And yeah, it's good though.
For
Good
sure.
vibes.
Sure. And final question before we move on. On the classic Pokemons, what's your starter Pokemon?
Damn. On like the OG, like
OG.
I feel like in terms of like the original three, I've always been a Squirtle guy. I like
Mm.
Blastoise. That's the guy. But they're all three of them are dope. I feel like I've grown up and like had appreciation for all of them.
Very
I know
cool.
like Charizard's like the guy that everyone loves and he's crazy, but like I don't know. It was like I got there and I was like, I can't pick Charizard. Everyone picks Charizard, and then I
Yeah.
picked Squirtle. So,
No,
um,
for sure.
but
Okay. No, I was definitely a Charizard, I still am a huge Charizard fan.
bro, I
Uh,
was just like in my head, I was like, bro, like giant tank turtle with guns on its back. I was like, that's crazy.
uh, that's no, for sure. For sure. Okay, we can keep talking about games. We're gonna keep it moving. All right, number two. What is your favorite sentimental gift that you have received from someone?
Okay, this was the hardest one because there was like so many I could think of, and some of my items I don't actually have with me in the house. So I'll give some honorable mentions.
Yep.
Um, two of them I've got two like pieces of like jewelry with like different
Mhm.
sentimental things. Like so one's like this necklace with like the Albanian eagle on it, which my
Mhm.
mum had she gave it to me. And like all of my siblings we all have one. It's like kind of family thing.
Yeah.
That's like super sentimental. Like I basically like don't take it off. And then I took it off the other day and I left it where I took it off because I just was so used to always having it on.
Yeah.
So I know where it is. I just haven't been able to get it back
Oh,
yet.
okay, cool, cool, cool.
But yeah, so that's why I don't have that. My mom will be like, "What the hell?"
Yeah. No, for
um,
sure.
but the other jewelry piece is like I have my grandma actually like gifted me um like my grandfather's like wedding band from when they got engaged. And so like I have that which like I used to wear all the time, but then I almost lost it once, and then I decided I didn't want to wear it anymore because it was like I don't. It's like if I lost it, it would like break me. So I was like, I
Yeah.
just gotta like keep it. Um, and then the one item I do have has got a funny story. So basically, it's I'm in Sydney. I'm heading towards Sydenham Basketball Court. If you play basketball, you know Sydenham Basketball Court in Sydney because it's always like popping off. It's crazy. Um, so I was heading there, got into an Uber. This guy like picks me up. He starts talking to me, and I kind of recognize his accent. So I was like, "Oh, like where are you from?" And he like said he was Albanian, which is like my mum's side.
Yeah.
Um, and so I was like, "Oh, it's crazy. Like where are from?" And then he's from Kosovo, which is where like my mum's family's from.
Yeah.
So I like was talking to him. We were chopping it up. He was probably in his like 50s. And then yeah, I don't know. It was just crazy because like he got really excited because there's not really many Albanians in Sydney. So he's like, I can't believe I've just met you. Like, you remind me of my son. He was like, take my number. Like, if you need anything, let me know. Like, it was just super wholesome like vibe. And then when was getting out of the car, he was like, take this, and he like gave me like a keychain with it's like golden. It's got like little thing on it. And I was
Yeah.
like, no, man, I don't like, that's yours. Like I don't, you keep it. He's like, no, I want you to have it so you can remember that you met me and like there's like you got family here. And I was like, oh man, this is mad. Like I remember I called my mom after and I was like, oh this like older dude like said he's Albanian, talk to me, and she was like, yeah, that's how they all are. Like once they know you're Albanian, like it's like their family. Like so, I kind of like I think it's cool. I always like it's on my keys that like I take with me everywhere. So it's just cool to always remember that. And I think remember like, like sometimes like you can be united with people, even if you don't like have a really close connection, like there's still people that will like look out for you and stuff. So I know it's cool. That's what I thought. That was the only one I like had here that I could like kind of like show off.
I feel you. Hold it up one more time.
Yeah, yeah, hold on. Let me hold it. So it's like this. And I got the New York Knicks thing here,
Okay.
but
Wow, that's
yeah.
that's fire. And
Yeah.
again, it's so random, but I guess when you are a part of a community that is so, feels like they're so small, when you finally find someone who, has that shared experience, or even in
Yeah.
surrounding countries, it's
Yeah.
like, yo, like it's so nice to finally share, and yeah, all that stuff. Like I'm South African, and I know there's such a huge South African community here, but that still doesn't take away from the fact that anytime I meet a South African, I'm still like,
Yeah.
yo,
Get
what's
hot.
up?
Yeah.
So I can only imagine what's like from a country that's probably even less the population.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah, it's not like like I think Australia hasn't got like a crazy population. There's a lot in like around Melbourne. There's a place called like Dandenong, if you know where that is, and that's like it's kind of
Oh
like
yeah, yeah.
like east of Melbourne. Like, but yeah, it's like got there's like heaps of Albanians there, and like there's like communities of like kind of everywhere. But even like where I grew up in like country Victoria, there was like there was no other Albanians. Like I was the only one. So yeah, it's cool. It's cool, man. I know like there's like bigger populations in like New York and London and stuff, and like I don't know, it's just cool though. Like I think as you said before, it's like you meet people and then all of a sudden you start having like a relationship because it's like you just have that tie to each other. It's like it kind of like it can be like in so many ways. It doesn't have to be like where like your family's from. It can also just be like some random shared experience. Like, oh, we both went to the same concert, or we
Yeah.
both did this, or we both studied this, or like you find out stuff, and then yeah, I guess like on a deeper level too, it's like you at least coming from like a small place, you forget that there's like a whole world out there full of people that are like similar to you and like have similar experiences to you and that can confide in you as well. And like so that was cool. Like once I left like the town I grew up in, like just being like, oh my God, there's like so many people that like I like fuck with. And like it's not like I've just gotta like be stuck in this community full of people. I can like branch out and I don't know. That kind of stuff's awesome. Anyway. That's totally off topic of what we are talking about, but
No, but it makes total sense. It makes total sense. And yeah, no, shout out to that guy. That's such
yeah.
a wholesome gift. Whenabouts did you say that was?
Oh, this would have been like 3 years ago. Yeah,
Yeah,
crazy. Yeah, it's cool. It was like yeah, it's just random, but I'm just mad that like at least I have something to remember it always. So
yeah,
yeah.
100%. Okay, let's keep pushing. Number three, what's the first album that you ever bought or received?
That one was so easy because I basically my mom gave me like a pile of CDs when I was a kid, like a small pile
Yep.
from her. Like she's like a music collector. She's got like so many vinyls and CDs and yeah, like but yeah, she gave me like a few. I think when I was a kid because she was like, "You will like these," so I like
Mhm.
took them in and yeah, like they just sit on my like above my desk, just on a shelf, and
Yeah.
like so I've got them all here. So this is the albums we got. Phoenix, we've
Mhm.
got Nirvana, we've got NERD,
Nice.
NERD again. and then Demon Days, Gorillas.
Hard.
So to be honest, it's a pretty goated, like all of these albums kind of ended up pretty much being some of my favorite albums ever. Especially like the Gorillaz album and this NERD album. I feel like yeah, they're in like my top five. So yeah, it's super cool to like be able to like some of them still got like the price tags on them from
Oh, shoot.
like it's like super faded, but like it's crazy. So yeah, shouts out Sanity, yeah. Crazy.
Oh, dope. Oh, for real. Oh, shout out. What do you think is one thing from each of those albums that has carried, like that you hold with you now when it comes to your creation or your, especially now seeing as you just put out an album, like, yeah, well, what's one thing from those albums that you're like, I take that and it feels like it's a part of my musical process now?
No, for sure. I think I can like easily talk about some of these. So like Gorillaz, I've like spoken about it a few times, but like they're like they're like a band that I feel have are so hard to define. Like when you think about Gorillaz, like I can't even really. If someone's like, "Oh, what kind of like genre is it?" I'll just be like, "I don't even know," because like they've got like some of it's like hip hop, and then some of it's like more like rock, and then some of it's like techno, and then it's like it's so like crazy, and a lot of the time it's like all of it at the same time.
Yeah.
So I feel like that's kind of why I love them though. Like, and I think that going into like making my own album, that was like something I just like the idea of like taking all the stuff I love and like stuff that makes me who I am and trying to like make that into a sound.
Yeah.
And I feel like that's like the hardest thing to do.
Mhm.
But it's also so fun because you kind of like there's no rules. You can just like, what if we put like a break beat on this, and then
Yeah.
what if we do this, and da da da, and then all of a sudden you end up finding yourself with something that maybe didn't exist before, which is probably impossible, but like, or something that like you never thought you could create. So that's definitely something like Demon Days, and it's almost the same with like NERD. I feel like these like NERD has like inspired so much music that everyone loves today, and I feel like they were like the OGs to like kind of bring like that or bridge that gap between like hip hop and R&B and rock music. Like I feel like these two albums especially are very like rock
Yeah.
heavy. But
Yeah.
like I don't know, it's just crazy because then you see artists now like Paris, Texas, and like all the different stuff where like they're really trying to push like a modern version of that stuff. But at the end of the day, these guys, like at least off the top of my head, they were like some of the first people to do it in like a commercially viable way.
Yeah. Yeah.
Um,
100%.
so yeah, obviously Pharrell's like also the GOAT as well. And yeah, I don't know, so crazy. And then Nevermind Nirvana is just like a classic album. It's like kind of so it's just crazy to me. I was thinking about it today when I was like getting the albums. It's crazy that like they never actually got to like keep making albums. It's just
Yeah.
like it's so like they're like such a like huge band, but it's just like this album.
Yep.
And it's like it's such a good album, but it's also like fuck. Like, can you only imagine like what else they would have created?
Yeah.
And I feel like yeah, like again, like I feel like it's always sometimes becomes a little bit like a stereotypical thing to be like Nirvana's my favorite band, but at the end of the day, like you can't like take away like how great Kurt Cobain was and that band in general. Like look at like Dave Grohl like going on
Yeah.
to like do Foo Fighters and become the amazing songwriter that he is.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's just like you find that like especially like in the 90s and early 2000s, like just like all these like super groups that of like people at the time they might maybe themselves didn't even realize how much of a super group they were, and then like looking now, it's like man, that's actually crazy. Like even like a recent example that you look at like Odd Future and stuff, and like how everyone in that group basically went on to like do their own thing.
Crazy. Yeah. Sure.
The Phoenix album, I feel like it's not like my favorite album ever, but it reminds me of a certain time in my life when I was a kid. And I remember like one of my like childhood best friends, like we had a song on this that we like loved, like Listomania, and then we would like listen to it all the time. It was like we knew all the words. It was like it's just a cool memory. Yeah, it's just like fun to have. But yeah, no, that's the albums. I personally feel like every time like I have to whip these out, I feel like super proud that these are my first like albums, and it's like just sick that I have them. And shouts out to my mum for having good CDs to give me.
Oh, shout out, shout out. And, one more thing on this is there a album or a song or a few songs or a few albums, or projects, should I say, of a local artist, who you have been rinsing lately?
Yeah, for sure. I think like uh, honestly, like the other day I was listening to Armlock's record, like EP. I think it's an EP. I don't know if are you across Armlock? They're like a band. They're a band from Melbourne. Basically, the singer, and I believe he produces a lot of their stuff as well. He like actually mixed my album. His name's Simon Lamb, but he's kind of across like so much stuff. Like he's got like a solo project. He's got like a duo project with his cousin called Chloe, which is like a dance project.
Hmm.
Um, it's all of it's like really good. But the band is so cool. I just like their sound is just like something I haven't really heard out of Australia. And it has this like velvety, like warm feel to like the songs, but also kind of like this melancholic feel as well, which is like really cool. So I was listening to that a lot. It's like kind of on a chill vibe. It's very nostalgic. Really like that. That's like, oh man, there's so many though. Like, I need to like go and like make a list. I was actually thinking about that today, like making like a playlist of like all like my friends' music and like just all like music I like out of Australia. I feel like there's also so many acts that I have only just recently come across that I didn't know exist, whether it's because they're like from another city or like wherever. Like there's a band called Safety Club I was listening to the other day. They're really cool. Obviously there's like the Sydney crew, there's all like the full circle guys. Becca Hatch is obviously insane. Her EP is like probably like one of my favorite things that I was ever a part of, which is just like it's just so cool. And then yeah, honestly, I could. There's actually so much. Even like in the hip hop space, there's so much. Um, I was talking to Kwame the other day, and he's kind of like doing his own. He just moved to the US, I think, so he's like kind of chasing that. So it's cool, just like seeing everyone, just chasing something. I feel like that it's like it's for me, seeing other people coming from Australia having the confidence to do that kind of makes me feel good about what I'm trying to do as well. I feel like sometimes it can be so competitive in Australia because it's such a small place and it's like there's only so many people that you can play your music for.
Yeah.
So I feel like it's cool when everyone's like uplifting each other and trying to create like a safe space for everyone to just be themselves. So yeah, everyone that like I really fuck with is like people who trying to like do something for them. And they're not trying to be someone else. They're just trying to like do what they want to do and do it right. And so many people is like Fabian is like another person I can think of. Oh, actually, I should refer to him as Friday. But he's someone that like I've said to him so many times. I feel like he is doing something that like I've never heard anyone do here. And yeah, it's there's so many people. So
Sure.
yeah, I think it's exciting times for Australia for sure. I feel like we're still like a few years away from having like an industry that's like super healthy because I feel like the industry is a little bit in a weird spot right now in terms of just like financially and like just being able to support festivals and support artists is just like not a lot of that. So I think once things kind of like sort itself out, obviously the world's just in a super chaotic time as well. So yeah, I think there's a bright future ahead, I think for sure.
For sure, for sure. I agree. I agree. And all, majority, if not all the people who named, like, yeah, absolutely doing crazy stuff. And I love, again, as a final point, the reason why I love, some of those acts that you named is because they're making some of the most genuine music and
Yeah.
you hear it. It's so obvious when artists around here are actually putting out genuine music and not just chasing a bag or a certain sound. And it's like,
Yeah,
yeah, it
for
shows.
sure.
All right, we moving. Number 4, what is a moment for one of your favorite gigs and sessions?
I'll name something for both. So for like a gig, like um I feel like the craziest show I've ever played was probably like Splendor. I like I remember like I was playing at the mix up stage. I don't know if you've ever been to Splendor, but like it's like a big tent. It's like a big giant tent. And like I don't know exactly how many people can fit in there, but like when I came out for my show, it was like overflowing. Like it was like full of people. And I remember just like I never played a show, especially for myself, like a solo show that was like that big. And
Mhm.
I think it was like the point where like it was kind of like when waiting had like got to its peak of like it was getting like so many plays every day and like it was just like on the radio and like it was just like doing that and I think that was like my moment where I realized like that song was bigger than me. Like
Yeah.
it was at the point where it was like this is like so much bigger than me now. It's like I and it was like performing that song and like hearing like thousands of people singing it back. Like that was crazy because like that song was like the first song I ever wrote. Like I had never written a song before in my life, like and recorded it until I made that song. So it was just like even now thinking back to it, it's like that kind of thing where like that's like the kind of moment that as an artist you dream of. I feel like, or at least for me, like being able to perform in front of people and like have it impact people in that kind of way,
Mhm.
um, and feel that energy. Like I feel like that's like something you like. I'll always like want that again. You know, I want to be able to like have that experience with people again.
Mhm.
Um, so yeah, that I'll never forget that. And then honestly, like there's so many stories from like in the studio, like especially making this record, this album. Um, where it was just so fun, man. Like I can't explain it, but like I think I'd never had this much fun making music since like I very first ever made music.
Yeah. Yeah.
Um, I think I got to a point where I was like I had like I signed a record deal. I went overseas, like, and I kind of got like rinsed through like so
Mm.
many sessions. It was like they're like, oh, meet this person, do this session with this person. You're doing all these like 1 day sessions where you just like only get enough time to like meet someone and then kind of make something half and then like don't finish it and then you move to the next thing. And I feel like it kind of like took the fun out of music for me. And like I didn't find like people I was super comfortable making music with because it's such a personal thing.
Yeah.
Um, and then yeah, I think I kind of I felt down for a bit. I was like, even like through like the EPs I had made before, like I just felt like I didn't create a world yet. Like, and I feel like that was like my goal. I wanted to like create a project that felt like a world. Like I could just go into that world and like
Yeah. Yeah.
it exists and I can like take it off and then I'm out of that world.
Mhm.
And I feel like this album was like the first time I did it, and I think it was purely because how much fun it was to make. It was
Yeah.
like I wasn't thinking about too much. I wasn't like overthinking the lyrics. I wasn't overthinking the sound. Like we just were like doing what felt fun and what felt right, and like just chasing ideas and like not looking back.
Mhm.
And I feel like that was like the secret. Just unlocked this thing in me that was like, man, like being in the studio with like I made the album with Rob Amoruso and Pip Norman. They're both older than me, but they're both incredible producers and they've like been through like so much in their careers. So it was just cool to like step into a space where all of us kind of have walked a different life and all of us are from different generation in a way, but
Yeah.
we were able to like come together with the sole purpose of creating something and like it was just crazy like whether we actually had a debrief on the final day.
Mhm.
I've actually got a recording of it because we like videoed it. There was just a debrief of like how we felt after we like finished it, and we're talking about how we couldn't have made the album without one of us. It was like if I wasn't there, the album would have been totally different. If Pip wasn't there, it would have been totally different. If Rob wasn't there, and so it was like this thing where it felt like such a collaborative thing. Like I was co-producing on it, they were both co-producing on it. Um, and there was just so many ideas. Like every song, every single detail was like a little bit of us. So yeah, honestly, that's definitely my studio story. It was just like having that moment, like where like that light bulb moment where it like felt like I finally found my people after like years of like kind of being like, man, like I don't know if it's gonna happen again. If I'm gonna like feel the same feeling that I've been chasing in the studio. So yeah, and I'm glad it resulted in the album, man, because yeah, it's definitely like the one thing I'm the most proud of in my career so far. So
For sure. And yeah, it is definitely interesting to play those little like what if games about like, yo, like the thought experiments of
yeah,
you weren't here. I wonder what this song would sound like, or if this song
100%.
exists, or is there anyone else we would have brought in to fill that void, or and
Yeah,
so you know that's kind of cool. That's kind of cool that you're like
yeah.
the
I,
fact
I,
that. us three finished it together, it's like the perfect combination.
100%. And there's like, I guess there's like that stuff like a lot of people say that like it's not something I necessarily ever thought about until like some other people had said it to me, but like about how like music for them was like it's not they're like just capturing the song and it's like not like they're physically it's not coming out of them, it just exists and you just happen to like stumble across the song and you like make it and then everyone's like hearing it. So like it's just cool to be like as you said, if someone wasn't there, like how would that who would that song would have like gone to or like who that feeling would have gone to like talk about that. Yeah, it's crazy. It's like when you like I don't know if you've ever done this, but when you like go on Spotify and you like write like the title of a song and then you see like all the songs and they're all so different, but like it's all talking about the same like the
Yeah.
one line. It's like so interesting how like there's like one thing I swear I remember seeing like a video. I can't remember what it was, but it was like of a song title and like how many it's like been over like so many years. Like it's just been like this one song that everyone keeps writing about, like this one thing. So
That's
I know
wild.
it's just cool. Like this, obviously, you were saying before. I'm not sure if it was recording, but you're saying like there's so many, like so much music. So
Yeah.
like it's so often you'd find that you and another artist have like the same thought and like you just articulate it in a different way and you
Yeah.
like package it in a different way.
Mhm.
So that it's crazy when that happens. I've met artists before where like I played a song and they've been like, "Hey, I said the same thing in my intro to my song," and you're like, "Oh, that's crazy."
No,
Like,
for sure. For sure. All right, good. Yeah, nice. Nice, nice, nice. Well, shout out. And again, all three of you made an absolute amazing body of work. Um, Number five, what is something that represents your dreams and aspirations within your field?
the one I was gonna like the item I have is like kind of like because of what I just spoke about before, but I'll just touch on it again. It was like I have like my actual physical album,
Yeah.
and it was like as I said before, it was like I feel like holding the album and like actually like it just exists now. It's like I finally like did what I wanted to do. It was like that kind of thing. I feel like so much in my life, like I'm the kind of person that sometimes I have these like, big ideas, but I don't always like go through with them. I don't always like follow it through to the end and like see it done because like life throws roadblocks at you, and sometimes like it's just some of them are too hard to like get over, and you just like you go on to the next thing and the next thing. But I hate the idea of like an idea dying,
Mhm.
like because I feel like if you don't like if you make an idea and you don't do it, it's
Someone else is
like
going to take that idea or something.
like exactly like no like that might no one might ever get to experience that. So like I'm just like so glad that I actually followed through with it, and I it's also just for me it's like I did it like I could make an album like and I could make something I was like I felt like for me I don't know what I'd change about it like and I guess like it's not perfect but like I wouldn't have it any other way um which is crazy because I feel like I've never made a song and been like man, I wish I did this. I wish I like retracked this part, or we could have like sped it up 2 BPM. Like I
Yeah.
don't know.
No, for
But
sure.
like I feel like this was just like it is what it is. Like and like I love it what it is.
Yeah.
And so that's definitely one. The other thing I was gonna say is like in that room I
Mm.
have like one of my first ever like plaques I ever got given. Like when you like you see like crazy big artists and they got like a whole hallway full of just like
Yeah.
all their plaque.
Yeah.
I was like, I got my like one plaque in this room, and the plaque I have in there is like it's like a gold record from New Zealand,
Yeah.
and it's like I have it in there because it's kind of like a reminder for me that like I guess like the dream and the goal is to like reach people overseas and like be able to like kind of have your music like be able to be performed and played for people like all around the world.
Yeah.
So I guess like that's my reminder that like I've done it before. I've like been able to get a song into another country and like get people to like it there. So I know I can do it again. So yeah, I was gonna show that, but I also just didn't want to like hold up a big off clock and be like, this is my I'm just gonna flex real quick. Like, I just felt like that was like a bit lame. So I didn't want to do
Yeah.
that.
No, the your actual record is a little more humble. So more like
Yeah. I was just like I feel like imagine I'm just like I was like, oh yeah, hold up. It's like, what?
you're just like, oh, yep.
Yeah.
Some light.
Yeah, I don't know. Yeah.
But to bring it back to the actual record, the physical record there. Um, Do you, like you said, you came out of that moment where you're overseas, in this being past session to session, half career, half songs, and you're like, you felt like you needed to get back to a sense of like, um, I guess normalcy or like a love of working on music again. Can you remember or can you pinpoint the exact moment where this current album started to like was incepted?
Yeah, for sure. Like the whole thing's like just such a crazy. There's so many little things. I've got like so many random stories, and some of it is like some of it is totally like probably just completely coincidence. But like I don't know. I'm gonna say this because it's kind of a funny story. So basically, uh, there was a few years ago. I went to like it was probably like 2020 or 2019 or something. I went to like a clairvoyant
Yeah.
with my girlfriend,
Yeah.
and we went there. They said all this random stuff, and then one of them was like, "I just keep talking to me." And she's like, I just keep seeing like the number 23." And in my head, I was like, "23 is a mad number. Michael Jordan, like, what are we talking about?
Right.
Like whatever." Like, then I was like, "Yeah, cool, 23." But like, then I was like, then I left, and I was like, "What could this number like possibly mean? Like, it doesn't actually has no like correlation to like my life personally. So like, what the hell is like could this mean for me? Like,
Yeah.
and I remember just thinking about, I was like, is it 2023? Is that my year? I was like, or is it like, is it when I turn 23? Like, what's going on? Anyway, she basically, all she said was like, number 23, I just keep seeing it. It's going to be like something big. It's going to be like a big change. And I was like a good change or like a bad change? I was like, is this like what it's going to be? And she was like, yeah, like I think a good change. And I was like, okay, sweet. I was like, phew. Anyway, fast forward, I work like I do my first session with Pip and Rob,
Yeah.
and I we basically just made some music together, and I think we came out with like two songs,
Mhm.
and I remember just being like, "Fuck!" Like I really that was so fun. Like it was so good.
Yeah.
And I remember just being like, in going into the session, I had made a playlist, and I was like, I want to try something that I've never tried before. Like, let's make some music like this, like some old bands I used to love.
Yeah.
And they were like, man, like we've been wanting to do this for ages, so like that's so good. Like, let's do it. So we started doing it, and then I was in the tram home after listening to what we made, and I was like, fuck, I love this. Like, this is such a dope like switch up, like so dope to like do something different for a change. And then I remember like looking at the date, and it was like the 23rd, and I was like, yes, this is my fucking number that from that shit. um,
You were like, wait,
but
wait
yeah,
a minute.
yeah, I was like 23, and it was like full like inception moment. But no, that was like a superstitious thing. But for the like honestly, for real, like the moment where I like was fully like we got something here was the third song we made. Um, we made it in Sydney actually at Mushroom Publishing in their like one of their studios.
Yeah.
They had just like been in Sydney for a writing camp,
Mhm.
and they had like one extra day at the end, and they were like, "Hey, bro, do you want to come make something? We got like, a couple of hours before we fly out."
Mhm.
And I was like, "Yeah, fuck it, let's go." Like we had like 3 hours to make something.
Mhm.
We went in, we was like just kind of like jamming. We were like sitting on the floor, just like playing guitar and stuff. And the song "My Release" like kind of came from that day. It was like I think Pip was playing guitar, and I was just sitting on the floor with him, and he was just playing these chords that were nice. And then I started just kind of freestyling, like just singing the random lyrics and melodies, and then like basically like the whole first verse and the chorus of that song and the pre-chorus just like came out in that one little session, and it was like so natural. And then Trevor were like, "Holy fuck, we've got to record this right now!" And so like got the mic, quickly set it up, recorded that. Yeah, ended up being like what was there to this day, like the original stuff. But I feel like after we made that song, I was like, man, this wasn't just a fluke. Like we didn't just like fluke make two songs that I really liked. It was like where like every song I make with these guys, I was like, I love it. I was like, this we have, and that was when I was like, I have to make a project with these guys. We have to like actually make it a thing. So we ended up getting together like crazily, like that same day that we made that song, Rob had found out that his wife was pregnant with a baby. So it was like this crazy moment where like it was super emotional. Like I sang that song, which was kind of emotional for me. He found out some emotional stuff, but he didn't tell us yet. They're like we're like linked in this weird way. So yeah, it's just crazy. Like there's honestly I could talk for like hours about different stories through like because we worked like pretty much 4 months worth of days in the studio,
Mhm.
just working on it, and each day was like some funny shit happened or like just so much stuff. So yeah, I gotta do that. I gotta like link up with those boys again and like we just gotta like debrief and talk about all this shit that happened and like record it all or something. But yeah, it's so good. Like I think that's just a testament to like as I said before, how much fun it was. It was just like, we were just like joking around and still just like creating such cool stuff. So yeah.
Yeah, no, for sure, for sure. Yeah, I love that. And I'd be definitely keen to hear about all those stories. So yeah, maybe that might be an idea. To link
Yeah.
up, shoot something like that. I got one more question for you, but before we get into that, it's time to play a game. What I'm going to get you to do is build your ultimate collab track. It is going to be yourself, three other artists, one producer, and one videographer slash director, all local.
For the video, can I can I have like multiple can I create the crew that's
Yeah,
working on
of
it?
course,
All right, so
100%.
we've got AW
Mhm.
doing that's Aaron Aaron Bull and Matt Wilson doing which is Reggie and Ari, if you know those boys. So that basically all of those guys made all my visuals for my album. So get those guys because they're the goats. And then for the music side of it, how many? You said one producer.
One producer, but people sneak in
Is it
two people usually.
cool?
So
Okay, okay, okay. It's like because I feel like it's like the kind of thing where like so many people, so it's like I don't want to like leave someone out and then like I'm trying to think. Well, myself, um, I'm chucking Becca in there because we work really well together. I know we've like worked together before on all of me. Uh, her in there. Um, I have to pick two other artists, man. This is crazy. How do I do this in the fly? See, this is you throw me up all the other questions. I came in prepared. This is a little like off moment. Um, I think on the producer side, I'd probably like someone who is very very dope and underrated is Lucy Blomkamp.
mm,
She produced like a lot of stuff for Becca's project. She produced all of me.
yep.
She's like someone who I want to just put in there to also give her a shout out. So Lucy Blomkamp on the production, and then we'll go. I'll put. I feel like I just like to like see Friday and Becca Hatch on some hectic like imagine the song like goes and then it like drops into like some dance breakdown and those guys are going back and forth on a section, chopping it up. That'll be crazy. And then low key I feel like the outro needs to be. I'm trying to think of like someone who could like rap a verse on an outro. Um, I'm gonna say the most humble god himself, Zion Garcia, because he's like just the most like I don't know if you know, but like there's no one else I've ever met in my life who's like you can't hate this guy. He's just
God,
like
he's the
so
worst all over
nice and like he's like he's very talented, obviously as well. Like I should mention that he's like super super talented. But this guy's like the most humble guy you ever meet in your life. He's just like very nice and caring, and he's just like seems like he's just like chilling all the time. So I'm like, shouts out to Zion. He's on the outro. We're doing that. I feel like I want to add Simon Lamb on there because his voice is actually just crazy. Like I don't know what he would do. Maybe he can sing the chorus or something.
Yeah.
But yeah, shouts out. I'm gonna shout him out again. Same guy from Armlock, Mix My Record, just crazy talented dude. I could name so many people for this, especially like local artists and producers and videographers. But so if you're one of my homies that I didn't say, then it's not there's nothing against anyone. I just like I'm on the spot right now.
That's what I love about this question. I you on the spot. We'll save it for the second next time I interview you.
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
We'll
yeah,
run it
yeah.
back.
Next, yeah, yeah, 100%. Now I'm gonna start thinking about it so I like have it unlocked the next time. Like,
Sure. Okay, so to run it through one more time. So it's yourself, Becca, Friday, Zion, and Simon Lamb as the artists.
yeah, 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 yeah,
Production, you have Lucy Blomkamp.
yeah.
Was there anyone else from the producers? Did I miss anyone?
No,
Was
I just went straight to Lucy Blumkamp. I know she'll be able to smash it. She'll handle it.
for sure, for sure. And remind me once again the production crew.
The video crew is AW Studios, which is or Studios, which is Matt Wilson, Aaron Bull, and then you got Have You Stopped Growing, which is Reggie and Ari.
Yes.
That's a goat crew. That's a crazy collab. I feel like that would break Australia. That collab.
1000%.
Yeah.
1000%. What would be happening in these visuals?
Man, I don't even know. Like, if it honestly with those guys, you just never know. Like, sometimes the ideas that get that some of the ideas that didn't make the cut for these album songs were like you'd have no idea. Like, it was like some of the ideas were floating around. Was like, I wish I had the budget to make this actually happen, but I just don't. But yeah, it'd be something crazy. Like, yeah, like we were talking once they were gonna make a video for like one of the songs off the record 2 a.m. Like, they had this whole idea. I'm not gonna go into it because you might use it for something else. But basically they just wanted to like burn all this shit, like burn a house down. And I was like, this is like burning a house down is like so not chill. It's like the most like crazy, like they're like, yeah,
Can't just
that's
do
small,
that. Can't
like
just pull up and
like a small model house. And I was like, but how are you gonna like make a crazy looking model? Like, I was like, this is like it's a sick idea, but like, holy fuck, like how are we gonna do this? But their brains just like work in a crazy way, and like I love that. So yeah, I know that they'd make something wild.
for sure, for sure. Well, let's see if that collab turns out.
Hey, look, you never know. Like, if I named you, hit me up.
For sure. 100%. I need to see it. I need to have that collab.
Yeah, 100.
Okay. Got one more question before we get out of here. What is a personal moment that stands out to you that has impacted your music in a certain way?
I used to like sing like backing vocals and do like hype vocals when I was a teenager for the Baker Boy. So that was kind of how I like got my foot in the door of like performing on stage. So I used to just like tour with him. I did like so many shows. We did like 70 something shows. And um yeah, like on one of those first ever times I ever like did a gig with him. I think it was actually like our first ever gig. It was just Baker Boy and I. We flew to Darwin. We get to Darwin at the airport, and mind you, I'm like 14 years old or something, and like I'm just chilling. We're going to sing at this little awards night, and at the airport we get there, and they're like, "Oh, sorry, like someone else was their flight like was running late. They were supposed to get picked up before you. Do you mind if we just wait for them?" And I was like, "Yeah, that's fine." And we're like, "Yeah, so chill." We're just sitting there. Next minute, it's like Paul Kelly, like just like walks up, and he's like, he's like such like a Australian like singer songwriter, like icon. So it's like he kind of walks in, and then me, I'm like my grandparents really love Paul Kelly, so like I feel like I was like, oh, this is crazy. Like I grew up listening to whenever I go stay with my grandma, she would like play it in the car all the time.
Yeah.
So I remember just being like, wow. And I actually like got to like ask him some questions in the car. He probably doesn't even remember this, to be honest, because like I was probably just seeing like some random ass kid, and I was just talking in the car, and I asked him like, like what's some advice you'd give me like if I'm like starting to write songs. He said to me, the one bit of advice I'll give you is, as a songwriter, the more songs you write, the more powerful you become. And I feel like that for me, at the time, I didn't fully know what it meant, what he said. But I think now looking back at it, like makes heaps of sense. And it's like, you can make so many songs, and like not every song you write is going to be like the best song. But if you overthink it, and if you don't like just keep making songs, then you end up like getting in those little like ruts where you just get stuck in like you can't create because you're overthinking. So it's like the idea of just being able to like write as many songs as possible and just constantly be in that state of creativity and allowing yourself to just like do whatever and just create. It's like so healthy. Not only feel like just as a person, as an artist, and as a creative, but also on a level of like, man, you've gone from having like a 10 song kind of catalog to having like a 1,000 song catalog, and all of a sudden your like artist portfolio looks so different because you're like, I can do this and I can do that and I can do this kind of music and I can produce and I can just sing a song with just me and a guitar, and you start being like, man, like I can do all these things, and it just gives you like more power. So shout out Paul Kelly, man.
No, for
Really.
sure. For sure. Wow, that's so crazy. Oh,
Yeah,
and that advice is makes so much sense, you know. Again, just a natural flow of just getting ideas
yeah.
down, you know, and like you said, every song might not be the greatest song, but at least you are getting your thoughts out in a constructive way that, might, if not in that right moment, in that moment, can still turn into something in the future, or even outside of that, like reflect something, make you think about something in your personal life a different way and stuff like that.
100%. And like even on another level, like there's other artists I've spoken to, like really big artists that have said things to me like where you know you should always as an artist chasing like a dream like to like reach greater heights. It's like you should always have it like your mindset should always be like you're always only one song away from from that change happening, like and I think that's a super super important thing to remember. I always forget that as well. Like I feel like you pour so much time to like making a song and maybe it doesn't get the returns you're expecting on like maybe like it doesn't get as much love as you thought it was gonna get, or like doesn't get as many streams or whatever. Like stuff that doesn't really matter at the end of the day. Like at the end of the day, like you created it. It's important that like you went through that process. But it's easy to get bogged down in that, but it's also easy to forget that all it takes is one thing to change your life in a big way. Even for me, like with waiting, it's like I went from like just going to school in country Victoria every day and playing basketball at lunchtime to like putting out a song when I was a teenager, and then all of a sudden like I I made a career out of it. And so it's like you never know, like stuff can just happen like this. So yeah,
For sure. Well, shout out Paul Kelly, and I think that is,
yeah.
and I think that's a great place to end off. Kian, thank you so much for jumping on.
Oh,
Uh,
well, thank you.
Here's where I roll out a bit of a red carpet for you, let you know, let the people know, allow you to let the people know what is going on, what's out, what's coming up,
Yeah, yeah. Well, basically, the album's out. You can find it like on every streaming service. There's heaps of amazing visuals on YouTube if you want to go check those out. Um, I'm doing. I'm not exactly sure when this is going to be live, but I'm doing some shows in early December. So there's a show in Melbourne at Punters Club in Fitzroy on the 4th, which is free. So just like there's no need to buy a ticket online. You just kind of pull up and come have fun. And then we've got a show in Sydney at the Lord Gladstone in Chippendale, and that is also going to be supported by So Be It, which is a mad little group of really really talented guys who I've just met in the last year. So I I I haven't met all the members yet, but I've met two of the members, and yeah, I'm really excited to like see their show because I've never seen them before. I'm just like know them as people, and I just really like them as people, and I've heard their music on Spotify. So I'm like, yeah, I just wanted to like get them involved. So they're going to be supporting that. The tickets start like $15. Like, so compared to like when Taylor Swift comes out to Australia and everyone's dropping like $300, $15 is not crazy. So come through. It's gonna be mad vibe. But yeah, hopefully there'll be more shows coming up. If there's other people watching this from like other cities like Brisbane or Adelaide or whatever, I'm working on trying to like get stuff going there. So yeah, just keep in tune with the socials. But thanks so much for having me, Rue. It's been dope. And yeah, I'm glad we got to have a mad convo. It was. Hopefully, I didn't ramble too much. I feel like I'm a rambler.
There's so many ramblers, but I appreciate it because then we get to know more. Get to know more. Oh, well, thank you once again, Kian. I am okay, the Culture Black Kid. I'll catch you next time. Peace.
Gotcha.